So this is the longest time without an update for quite some time, I would have thought, possibly the longest. I've had a bit of time off. I did a lot of family stuff over the weekends and stuff, so I've not really been working on the car. However, this is the new purchase. It's a pretty good conditioned interior Puma 1.7. It was 300 quid and I got the bloke to deliver it to me for 60 quid, which was great. I've decided that if I got a completely spare car, I'd have a complete set of spare bits. So it's obviously got all the dash that I need, the wiring loom. It's in really good condition. All the door cards are great. I'll probably reuse it, and the carpet. The shell's pretty rotten, which is why he was selling it, and the head gasket has blown on it. However, as I said, it gives me a complete spares car. So what I've started doing, I didn't put it on time lapse because I forgot to start the camera, but so far I've started stripping down the engine bay. I've taken off these lines from the ABS, started removing this here. Still got one bolt on the back of that. I've created a, let's just take you through to here. This fuel regulator on here, I wanted to use a proper fitting, so I managed to use this section off the other one and cut it and adapt it. So this fitting actually clicks, he says, clicks on, which means, I'll just sort that out before I forget to do it again. There we go. Means that it's a good connection. I've started removing all of these bits and cleaning them up and removing them over. I've rerouted these lines in here because they were incorrect. Now I have marked it up a bit down there, but I can touch that up. What else to know, really? Yeah, just working my way through lots of little bits. So I'll put you on time lapse and I'll continue to work through, but I'll give you a bit more of an update soon. But yeah, I just thought I'd better get the camera out and start recording again. Morning guys, it's Sunday and it's absolutely Baltic. However, I really don't want to waste another weekend not doing anything, so the last video you saw me, or the last clips, was time-lapsing, removing stuff from this Puma. Good start, battery died as ever. Yeah, so I was just saying, last time you saw me taking parts off this Puma, battery didn't die once, twice, but 3 times. But anyway, they're all charged now. What I've been doing is tidying up the garage. I had hoped with a mate to get a unit, a barn conversion. However, that's all fallen through. So what I've decided to do is make a bit more space in here to make it a better of a working environment. So I'm almost done cleaning it up, and then I can start getting into this a bit more. I've got the wiper motor which you saw on time lapse to refit, which I'm going to do in a minute, which has been painted. As you can see, lots of other little bits are coming together. I started fitting the lines. I've got the ABS unit here, just need to clean this up, which you'll see me do on time lapse shortly. I've got this that was on the front of it, which is a bit rusty, so I'm going to sand this back as well, or shot blast it in a minute, and then paint this to put that back on there. I've got the shot blaster out here. I've got a few bits of plates, this metal plate here that I want to shot blast. There's the other little bits here which I'm going to do shortly, so we'll put that in there. Yeah, just had a bit of a tidy up really, give a bit of space. As you can see, there's a lot more working space for me in here. That metal plate I just showed you goes here, and then this hooks onto it, which you'll see me doing again shortly. Let's get this out of the way though, because in a minute I'll be fitting the wiper motor, as I said. In fact, I'll show you that now. I finished building it up last night. This has had its second coat. As you can see, it's drying. Once that's dried, I'll be able to fit that. That's the brake booster. Here is a brand new refurbished wiper motor. You will have seen in previous videos I'd already painted one of these. However, I didn't notice that Warren, the previous owner, actually cut this section off to make it a bit lighter. So this spare parts car that I've got out there, that silver one, I've taken it off and refurbished this one. So what you'll see me do in a sec is refit this into the car. So let's get all these bits off and get it ready to go on. I've ordered a new one of these caps. It was £8. They're slightly damaged there, but you won't see it. But I've ordered a new one, £8, so that should be here next week. But yeah, this should be ready to go on. The other thing I've started doing is any bolts that I'm taking off the Puma, which say hold this in position, which are not in there. Oh, they're over here. I'm starting to, I'll shot blast all of these as well in a minute, and I'm going to send this off batch for zinc plating, because obviously it go to all of this effort to make these look nice. I want these to be zinc plated as well. So yeah, I'll get that done. So a lot of shot blasting to do this afternoon, but as I said, once I get those done, I can start painting up and start refitting things. I can refit the cap on there and refit the ABS unit, which goes into here, where I've transferred all the brake lines from the parts car to here. So I need to just organise these a little bit better and get those refitted. Then the brake booster, then this can go on the top there, and then that's looking pretty good. Fit the back thing along here. I cleaned this up as you saw in a time lapse, not painted. Give it a really deep clean and then heated it up and applied some trim dressing. This auto finesse stuff is pretty good. It lasts quite a long time. And whilst I'm chatting away, on the original shell, Warren cut this out here and had this carbon fibre support beam in between, and the reason why he did that is because he was moving the radiator forward, because where the supercharger lines up, the radiator, this is the holes for the radiator here, and it drops straight down. So I'm going to have a problem in that I thought I might be able to fit the radiator and take off the fan surround and put a push-pull fan on the front of it instead of on the back of it. However, it looks like it's going to be too tight for even that, so I'm really in a bit of a, I'm not sure what to do about this at the moment, because I can't put this on the other way around because it'll hit this, the starter motor, unless I can perhaps figure out a way to make it fit, but I don't think it will. Because if this is facing the other way around, it'll still do this. Actually, as this supercharger, this is actually on the opposite way around. Warren turned it round because he said it was going to be too close to hit that, which obviously has now meant that it's going to be in the way of the radiator. So if I just show you the parts car, if you look down from here, you can see the actuator is exactly, so if you envision that, I'll take you over to the parts car. You should see, just a sec, what I'm referring to. So there's the starter motor, and the radiator is, well, there's two radiators on this. There's the condenser for the AC, and then there's the main radiator. Now that main radiator, which is there, I think is going to hit the actuator. If it doesn't, the radiator that is, I've got a new radiator upstairs to fit. If it doesn't hit, I'll just simply take off the fan surround and I'll put what's known as a push-pull fan, which goes on the front, so it pulls air in and pushes it through, as opposed to sucking air in. They're not meant to be as efficient, but the Pumas don't really have any overheating issues, so I'm confident that by putting a push-pull fan on instead of the OEM one, we'll get away with it. The more I look at where this position of the radiator is here, it's quite far forward, so I'm hopeful that without, as I said, I keep saying it, without the fan surround, it will actually fit. So what I might look at doing is finish prepping these parts in the shot blaster, and then I might have an attempt at removing the radiator surround and see if I'm going to be able to make it fit, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a lot of work, but fingers crossed it will work. The other thing I've been doing, as I said, I've not been vlogging for a real long time, so I've been buying lots of different bits and bobs as well. So in a time lapse, you'll have seen I bought the Sparco bucket seats. Shout out to Simon for the Ford Racing Puma group. He has given me a Ford Racing Puma rear ABS loom, which is different to a stock Puma one, so thank you for that, Simon. I'll leave that out, in fact, because I'm going to give that a clean up before I fit it. In the other time lapse, you would have seen this coming together. So the underside's painted, all the brake lines are on now. I need to fit these brake lines that go to the caliper, so I got these made up by BRT Motorsport. I think they're about 60 quid, which I thought was a pretty good price. I got Simon again, shout out to Simon. He gave me the exact spec of the OEM Racing Puma one, so I know that these will fit perfectly. So at some point I will get these fitted onto the car. I've also ordered the correct size splash guards because I'm running slightly larger rear discs, which are off, I believe, a Ford Focus as opposed to the Puma, the rear splash guards are a bit bigger, so let's just get these. Still got a bit of tidying to do, as you can see. So here's the Racing Puma ones, and here's the Ford Focus ones. As you can see, they're quite a lot bigger, and it will give me the clearance that I need. I'll reverse the car out and get them fitted. I'll put the brake lines with them as well so I don't lose them. So once I get this brake booster and ABS unit on, and then finish fitting the brake lines from the chassis into this clip and into the actual calipers themselves. In fact, I've noticed that this caliper's upside down. It needs a bridge pipe at the bottom and the nipples on the top, so I'll need to swap that with the one on the other side. So that's something for me to do. Yeah, other than that, I bought a new seat base, OMP one. So yeah, lots of little bits to catch up on there. So sorry I've been chatting for quite a while on that one, but yeah, let's see how we get on. But as I said, this is going to be really close to the radiator. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it will actually fit. I mean, that does stick out quite a long way, doesn't it? It's going to be close. If not, I'm wondering if there's a way that I can get an actuator with a longer rod. So this is the rod here, and then reposition this over at an angle perhaps this way, and then get it to actuate the lever here coming from this way, because the vacuum will cause this to suck, and that means the air won't be going through the supercharger. It'll just be running through this tube. But then where the vacuum's not on, so there's no vacuum coming from the inlet, it'll be charged air being forced through here at this pipe into the intercooler and up into the inlet. Other thing to mention, throttle bodies. This is obviously the throttle body here. Some people suggested that I might need to run 2 throttle bodies, a throttle body on the inlet and a throttle body on the supercharger. And the reason for that is when you accelerate and open up the throttle, there'll be a delay from the time it takes from the compressed air or the charged air to come from this pipe through the intercooler and up into the inlet. So that might be something else I have to look at. But what I'm going to do for now is I'll just run a single throttle body and see how we get on. If I do find that I'm having issues with the delay, then obviously I'll have to look into something else. I've also ordered this is the main vacuum net. At the moment it's just got one single pipe that goes to the actuator. What I've ordered is a 5-way breather, so it'll have one for the boost gauge, one for the actuator, one for the map sensor, one for the brake booster, and I think there's another one that I can't think of the top of my head, but that will give me the, instead of putting lots of holes in the inlet, I may as well just use this one and split it off. What I'm hoping to use is this isn't used for anything, so what I might do is have that on there, which is the idle control valve, and get that fixed on there, and possibly the vacuum 5-way booster I have on here, so I've got access to it, so I can put all the lines into it. So that's actually the brake booster. No, that's the, I think that's for the fuel at the rear end, yeah, so that will have to come to one of these outlets as well, so that'll be the 5th one. But anyway, let's finish tidying up, shop blast the remaining bits so I can send off to Alex to get them zinc plated, and let's finish off. In fact, that reminds me, I'm going to take these bolts off here and get these all zinc plated as well in the same colour, so you'll probably see me doing that on time lapse as well. This is the steering wheel collar that comes from the inside of the chassis. I should have fit this before the manifold. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that now. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have the room to get this in there. The other thing I need to address is finish sorting, which I can now get off the parts car, is the power steering lines. So there'll be a power steering line comes out of there, which goes through a line that runs across the front as a cooler, and then it comes back down and goes down into the power steering rack down there. So again, lots of little lines and lots of little niggly bits I need to resolve, but just plodding on and getting through as much as I can. But yeah, let's get the windscreen wiper motor sorted, and then let's do some shot blasting, which is a pain in the ass. Oh, and by the way, this is Staniel. Say hello, Staniel. A new little helper. He's 13 weeks old. Come on. Go on, mate. Good lad. Okay, thought I'd do an update. Got the brake booster on and the lines. I'm powder coating. I'm shot blasting the cap that goes on there at the moment. I'm going to paint it up and I'll put it back on. I've got all the other lines in. Some of them could do with touching up a little bit really. What I might do is get some similar paint and just paint them on. They look alright, but I want them to look a bit better than that, to be honest. I haven't put this bracket on yet because all of these bolts, which I've now shot blasted, are going to be sent to Alex this week to be zinc coated in this finish, basically the gold, the same as the others. So I'll get that sent off to him Monday morning. Hopefully have them back maybe for the week. I've taken the bolts off these and there, the ones that were looking a bit rusty, and I want to get them zinc plated again. But yeah, pretty happy with that. I'll quickly show you the cap that I'm doing. I've only got I think it's a 50 litre compressor, so I have to do it. It takes a bit of time to get it all off, so I'm slowly getting there. I'm going to work to get this done and then finish it, put a first coat of paint on and then finish another coat on it tomorrow. And I'm also, before I finish today, going to finish off
just doing these last few brackets. Those who've seen the previous video will know that this is the line I've got the bracket for the rear brake lines. So I'll just clean these up and I'll get these spot welded back on once they're cleaned up, and then I'll paint them. So that's what they will look like before. And there's one I'm in the process of doing. As I said, I'll finish off these clips and then I think I'll call it a day, but I'm really happy with what I managed to do today. There's another one. There is, oh, the other thing was the main tidying up the garage, which I'm really happy I've done. You would have seen on the time lapse, this piping was off the original Puma. It goes to the airbox, and it seems like it will work quite well on the supercharger. So what I've done is used a bit of pipe in there to connect the two, because it's the same diameter, but that seems to work quite well. I'm not sure how I'll position this yet. I'd like to give it a cold air feed, obviously, but what I might do is, the front bumpers there, is create a air pocket that goes directly to it, and then sort of maybe seal it at the bottom. I haven't decided yet, but I think that bracket's going to work quite well there. So that's something else I've done. I'm going to go and grab the radiator in a sec and hold it up in here and see if it lines up, so I'm really keen to see if it's going to hit this or not. So let me go and do that now, and I'll put you on time lapse of me. As I said, fingers crossed, hopefully I can put it at an angle and it'll miss. So yeah, let's take a look. So as I feared, that is touching. Now it does just fit, but that is me tilting the radiator forward at the bottom, so it should be horizontal, and it's not. It's tilted forward like that. I don't know if you can see that, but so I might have a bit of a leeway. You see the bracket in there where it hooks in, when the plastic bit's sticking through there. I could look to tilt that forward and bring it forward about. I might be able to get well, I might be able to get a couple of inches actually if I really pulled it forward. So you can't quite see there. If I pull that forward, this will bring the whole thing forward, which might help the situation. What a bind, because the lower cross brace that goes under here, it screws in there and then it picks up here. But I mean, I can create a bracket which moves it forward so it holds it up like that. It might work. And then the push and pull fan would be on this side. I don't know if you can see that very well. Push and pull fan on here. I am tempted to bend these now forward just to see how much I can get on them, but I don't know what effect that's going to have on other bits. But let's give it a try. Let's tweak these forward a bit and see how much movement we can get out of them. I mean, the best approach obviously is to somehow relocate this actuator, but it needs to be coming, it would be here usually where the starter is, and there just isn't going to be the room. One thing I'm probably end up having an issue with is the coolant. I don't think they'll probably reach. It might do, I'll never know. The coolant lines, but that's the least of the worries at the moment. So let's see if we can tweak these brackets forward a touch and see how much further forward we can get the bracket to come. Obviously I can, the way they're positioned on there, I could retweak them anyway. So yeah, let's have a look at doing that. So off camera, I've just been having a play with this. These usually go through this bit here. However, I've just zip tied it up. If I pull this forward, put it there, and then somehow create a bracket, so instead of the zip tie, make it a bit more permanent, the pipes reach. You can see I've damaged the back of the radiator slightly, but that is not actually touching. You see through there? Yeah, is not touching the radiator at all.
Right guys, that's close of play on the Sunday. I'm pretty certain this is going to be a long video, so thanks to those of you who managed to survive all the way through it. It was a long time coming for an update and for me just to get out here and do something on the car, but hopefully this video will be based over a couple of weekends, but you'll hopefully have seen now that I'm really seem to be making some good progress. I've sandblasted the cover that goes on there now, and I've just done a first coat of paint, so that'll be getting a second coat tomorrow and I'll put that on. The brake booster, as mentioned earlier, is on. Need to put a few clips on and a few bits here and there. As I also mentioned, the radiator, I think I've probably found a solution in the fact that the rubber bits that go over here, instead of pushing through that, I'll have them here and I'll somehow create a bracket. I mean, if I can bend this, which I think is probably possible, I could bend this and line that up with here. So perhaps I'll do that. Perhaps I'll strap the back of the car and use a ratchet and bend this forward in order to line that up. And I think that's probably going to be the best solution. Then I haven't got to make any brackets for the top. As for the bottom, the lower beam comes more here, so I will have to do something different at the bottom. It's worth mentioning that in this gap here, there's a good couple of inches, so I should, without any issue, be able to put a push and pull fan, which I've mentioned a few times now. So I wouldn't say I was getting sleepless nights about the radiator, but it was playing on my mind what I was going to do about it. But I'm happy to say that it looks like we've come up with a solution, so that's great. Lots of other little bits to be doing on. As I said before, I've got the rear brake lines to do, the bleed nipples, some new ones I've got. I also got the nuts for the inlet and exhaust manifold, so I'll put them on at some point. The vacuum tree, which I mentioned earlier, should be here this week, so I'll have a look at running the lines for that as mentioned. This is the brake booster vacuum line, so that one will obviously link up to it as well at some point. I've just sprayed the metal plate that goes on here, which this hooks into, so that'll be going up on there in the next day or two. But I think you'll agree it's beginning to take shape. Having the radiator on makes it look great. The parts car, I've pretty much removed all the wiring loom from the engine bay, the main one, apart from the line that goes to the starter motor. So I'll remove that, and then I can look at taking out this whole section here, and then I'll look to put that in, because my intention is to completely finish the engine bay on that, and then I'll start working on the interior. So stripping the interior out of here. I've taken the door cards off. You probably may have seen that. I'm going to try and fabric the door cards up the leather section that's usually on here to match the bucket seats that I've got in a light grey. So I'm on the hunt for some of that. What else? The fuel tank, I've got a stuck bolt on the parts car, which I'm struggling to get off at the moment, which means I can't drop it, which means I can't get the replacement lines I need in order to fit this one up on the underside. And I think that's going to be about it for this upload. As I said, I'm really happy with what I've managed to achieve. It's been a long time coming, so thanks for those of you who are bearing with us. And I think we're about 470 subscribers now, which is great. So I hope you enjoy this content. Next weekend I'm busy, but the following weekend I intend to get back out here again and crack on with some work. So there's plenty of new bits to be getting on with. But for now, that's going to be it. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.